Welcome, everybody, to another episode of
the Super Data Brothers Super Show.
That's right. I am Ryan.
I am Eric.
And we are two real-life brothers who work in the data analytics industry. And have we got a good one for you today, folks?
Boy, do we. You know, I'm so excited for today's show, Ryan, because we are having a good chat with Rachel Su, the program director over at IBM of Cognos. So I've been a Cognos guy for a long time. I know like both of us have lots of history with Cognos. Like at MSU, we use Cognos like intensively. It's the #1 BI tool. So I think this is going to be a really awesome discussion, and I think there's going to be a pretty good turnout for the show too.
Yeah,
so.
And that is a good point you bring up, Eric. Is if you are watching this and you have questions or comments or feedback, get them into the chat, folks. Whether you're watching on YouTube or LinkedIn. This is a live show, and it's more fun for us, and it's more fun for you if you share those reactions and those comments with the community. And I know we have a lot of people from our global Cognos community tuning in today or watching this on replay. So, if you see your friends in the chat, make sure to give them a shout out. I know we're going to have Cognos Paul joining us in a little bit. He said he couldn't attend the very beginning, but and I'm sure lots of other faces. And you mentioned, our history with Cognos. So for those of you who don't know, Eric is the BI team lead at Michigan State University. They use Cognos. I spent the whole first 10 years of my career focused exclusively on Cognos. Our dad worked for Cognos, so Cognos paid for us to go to college in a way. So we owe a lot to Cognos, and we're really happy to have Rachel here. She's kind of like the heart and soul of the Cognos community, I feel. And so it's really great to have her on the show. Now, before we bring Rachel on, we're going to show you, we're just a couple points of interest to go through. Meet the Super Data Brothers real quick, folks. Data Day, Texas in Austin on January 27th, 2024. We will be there. We will be hosting a panel discussion about the future of business intelligence and what does it mean in 2024. And this is like a who's who of data people that you might be familiar with from all different parts of data and analytics, data science, data engineering, machine learning and AI. Everybody's going to be there. You are not going to want to miss it. So check it out. And when you register, make sure to use code Super Data Brothers, all one word, to get 20% off your registration. We want to see you there. And then also, we have to thank today's sponsor, Digital Hive. Digital Hive is an analytics catalog. What is an analytics catalog, you may ask? It is the place that your users go to find all of the analytics assets that you have built across your BI tools. That means in Cognos, in Power BI, in Click, in Tableau, all those places. You can access all that stuff in a single portal that makes it easy for people to find and get and use the stuff that you've built. And I know this is a never-ending complaint of BI teams is we've built all this stuff and nobody can find it. So they end up building it themselves in some other tool. This will help you solve that problem. And it goes beyond that. It actually allows you to combine the best elements of the best reports together into a single dashboard, which is super cool. And I actually had a conversation with a really huge company just earlier this week where this was the thing that they were really interested in. And so check out Digital Hive. Big supporters of the show. We love them over there. And so visit them at digitalhive.com to get your analytics catalog rocking. Okay. Any last words before we bring Rachel on, Eric?
No, just again, to anyone who's tuning in, make sure to leave a if you have any comments, put them in. If you just want to shout out where you're tuning in from, we'll give you a shout out on the stream too. So
yeah. Oh, we got to do the YouTuber thing. Like, comment, and subscribe, please.
Comment and subscribe.
Helps with the algorithm.
On YouTube, if you're watching on YouTube, on LinkedIn, if you're on LinkedIn, we're live most Thursdays. We have covered lots of different content, and basically everything BI. We're BI. We're the Super Data Brothers, but really we're the Super BI Brothers, really.
Yes. So. Yeah, we really are. That's what we do. We're business intelligence is our area of focus. Okay, let's bring Rachel on and get this party started.
All right.
Rachel.
Hey, Ryan, Eric, you can hear me all right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You sound good.
You're fine.
Perfect. So, I know in the chat we've got people that I know, Mike Norris is tuning in. He says, we're here for Rachel. Absolutely. We've got Patrick, we've got Johannes, people from all over the Cognos community joining us today. It's really excited to see everybody here. And so why don't we kick this off? I think almost everybody who's tuning in is going to know who you are, Rachel. But for anybody who doesn't, could you tell us a little bit about kind of your background and what you do at IBM today?
Okay, so hi, everyone. Good day, good evening, wherever you are. This is Rachel, and I'll have to give this wave because apparently Ryan gave me the title. Honestly, I don't think I'm qualified and deserve this title to be the queen of Cognos. Cognos has a long history. There are way more important people, key people, essential people for this community. I'm not there, but
I disagree.
Thank you.
But continue. Yes.
So a little bit about myself. Quite boring and wild. I grew up in China. Actually, I was born, raised in China until I was 17. And I just really wanted to get out and see the world. I didn't want to stay in one place. So thanks to my parents, very supportive, I packed up 2 suitcases and came to Canada all by myself, on my own. Didn't know anybody, didn't know anything. I had some basic English, so I spent a couple years learning the English first, and then I went to university just like every other Canadians. And I did my very last co-op work term at Cognos. This was prior to the IBM acquisition. I was in 2006, and I was in Ottawa. I actually took computer science in university, but then from the Cognos job in the support group, I quickly discovered I'm not a programmer. I don't really enjoy just coding all day. I much rather work with technologies, like not just a single thing. I like working with people, more importantly. So after I graduate, I got a job offer from Cognos. Sweet, no need to job hunt, and immediate income. At that time, those are all important. Mm-hmm. So I joined Cognos as a full-time in 2007, and officially moved to Ottawa. Cognos is very special to me, not only because I finally was able to start my family. I call Ottawa home. I met my husband here as well, right? Cognos really is my first job, only jobs out of university. I didn't know there were no plan to stay here forever at the time, or even this long, but I just stayed because I really love the culture. I love the Cognos community. I love the product. I'm a strong believer in the product. And I was given opportunity to be the product management lead for Cognos Analytics at IBM. So I call myself the product management lead. I don't say I manage the product management team because I much rather, I want to see myself as someone who provide leadership, inspire team members, not so much of managing people. And luckily, I work with a team of 13 amazing product managers. They don't need me to manage them. They just need guidance. This is very much what I really enjoy doing, is to talk about technology, talk about BI market, talk about the product, and then lead from that perspective for my team. So yeah, I've been with Cognos IBM for about 17 years.
Wow. That's amazing. And you do have a very talented team of product managers over there. I've worked with many of them over the years, and it's always been a great experience. We got a couple people, Shaquille. Good to see you here. We've got Sasha viewing in the UK. We've got Aravind tuning in from India. So we really have a global audience today. And one thing I busted this out, Eric and I live in Michigan. And so I'm going deer hunting tomorrow. And I wanted to show you the binoculars I'm using to go that I'll be using out in the deer blind. So these are this is vintage, real Cognos gear from before the acquisition.
Swag from I have like a baseball cap. I should have dug it out for this. Yeah, should have.
We've got someone tuning in from Chicago on LinkedIn. Who is this?
That's Tom. That's Tom Wilczek.
Tom Wilczek, friend of the show, Tom Wilczek. Good to have you here, Tom. So, so long history with Cognos. Could you describe like kind of the overall, what is it that Cognos offers as an analytics platform as a whole?
Yeah, so Cognos today, actually, maybe we'll go back to the history a little bit of Cognos. And by the way, talking about Cognos gear, I'm proudly wearing
nice. I love it.
Cognos t-shirt. Yeah, I love this logo. So Cognos really started as a Canadian company, right? It was one of the largest Canadian company, extremely successful. I think we were there up with Business Object. Not a lot of players in the BI world. In the beginning of Cognos, there were a lot of desktop tools. And that's really, back then, that's what we were using. Impromptu reports. I think Cognos is probably the first one introduced those type of reporting. And it slowly transitioned into web-based. I think upfront, if anyone knows the history, was a web kind of an interface. And then the release of ReportNet, it was in 2003, before my time. It was the very first web-based, consolidating a lot of things together. And then with Cognos 8, it was 2005, I want to say. I think it was right before I joined. Was a very, very successful release. So for Cognos, what is Cognos? I would say Cognos is the BI tool that has the most complete set of capabilities. It is enterprise ready grade. It doesn't mean it's only for enterprise customers. Any small, medium-sized companies can easily use Cognos. And when I say complete, I'm talking about allowing you to connect to data in any forms. We support many different data source connectors, over 100 native JDBC connections on top of all the partner built connectors connecting to business applications. We provide easy to use as well as very advanced modeling tool, allowing you to shape data any way you need, because most often data stored at source is not business analysis friendly until you add some more definitions into it. And then we provide self-service capabilities for users to understand data, discover insights using natural language, as well as creating stunning visuals, interactive dashboards. We also serve up the use case of curated content by power users who needs to create something highly customizable and distribute it out to tens and thousands of users. So that complete set of features satisfy all these requirements, all these use cases, is what customers can get when they install Cognos Analytics. A single installation, you don't have to figure out how do I get access to which feature so that I have to install this desktop tool or pro version of it or a server piece that's on top. Now that is very simple, one installer, and you get everything, and all your users access different capabilities through a website, a single URL, and all the access controls are done through the centralized managed admin part of the product, and you can control who has access to what capability in one place.
Yeah, so it's really kind of, you think about the breadth of things that you could want to do with a BI tool. And I really agree. Cognos is the tool that more than any can do all of them. And that's one of the things that makes it special. A couple comments here, of course. Yep, we've got Goran tuning in from Zagreb, Croatia. Good to have you here. A couple people commenting that they remember Upfront. And then, of course, we've got Rika Jakobsen saying, Rachel, you are the queen of Cognos. I think that's one Cognos queen to another right there.
100%, 100%.
Yeah. Awesome. So let's talk about kind of, a little bit about that really, like Cognos' place in the market, and like, how have you seen this BI market evolve, in the last decade, and then where do you think it's headed?
Okay, that's a very good question. Cognos started as focusing on IT, right? IT use case. And back then, really, not everyone understand how to use data to perform analysis. Self-service, what we call self-service today, it wasn't really a thing. It required someone to sit through classrooms or even go to school to understand, to study analytics, well, we call BI back then. So Cognos was designed, focusing on IT type of use case, allowing power users to curate content and then distribute that. And it was more of a creator to consumer type of product. And then the market, the last decade, I'd say, it evolved with a lot of focus on business users bypassing IT. They just want to get things quickly. Cognos did add a lot of ad hoc capabilities to enable business users. I have to admit, we were a little bit slow to transition comparing to some of the newer products that came to market, right? And I'm not going to name names.
Yep.
But
we all know who they are.
But at the same time, we also still truly believed the IT governed, analytics with governance is key and essential. We didn't want to completely go away from that. We didn't have the luxury of just starting a new product from scratch and only focus on one area, only focus on self-service, right? We have this big platform that we want to continue to enhance and support. So we were adding a lot of self-service capabilities, but we were not known for that. And I'd say that really hurt Cognos, and then I really hate to even thinking back. I feel like that really hurt us, and I hate seeing that happen. It's the perception that Cognos is for IT only. A lot of people ignore the fact that we have a lot of self-service capabilities, as well as we didn't really have the luxury of just investing in only one area, because and I have a strong belief in the need of all these capabilities that I mentioned earlier. So I say that was the last decades. I also blame the some of the perception that self-service is all we need. A lot of, I'd say, publicly available analysis was ignoring the fact that you still need governance, you still need, or they didn't even acknowledge the use case or the need for reporting for a while, right? Even though we know a lot of companies are still heavily running their business on reporting. But that was just not the buzzword anymore. Yeah. It was all about visualization and dashboards. We have all of these, but the market really ignored our differentiator for a long time. And that really resulted, I think we all know, Ryan, Eric, what's happening now in the market, in the BI market today is every company has a bunch of different tools that they have to manage. Oh, yeah. Because the business have purchased a lot of standalone applications. So I really believe, and I'm not saying it has to be, the pendulum have to swing back the other way, that's heavily IT controlled. I think there has to be a balance, and a lot of organizations are seeing that balance, are understanding there's that balance now. And from a Cognos perspective, I think we're in a really good spot, because we never went away from our strong foundation with the governance, right? The ability for you to govern and centralize control, and adding other self-service features on top of a strong foundation. It's much easier than some tools have only just focused on visualization, now trying to introduce governance, trying to build the foundation underneath. I think that's a backward approach, and that's very difficult.
Yes.
So I think we're actually sitting in a much better position in today's world. But BI market is changing again. It's been stale for 5-6 years, I'd say. It's been stale, and everyone's pretty much have the same thing. You can put someone's slogan over top of another vendor's promo video. It's like everyone's doing similar things, but nobody's doing enterprise reporting still. Just remind everyone. It's hard to get it right. But yeah, so where's the market heading to? Does anyone know? Everyone assumes, and I think this is pretty certain, that AI is going to play a big part of where the BI market is heading to. But I think we're still newish in the leveraging AI in BI. A lot of vendors are trying to figure out how to differentiate, how to leverage AI in BI. A lot of very similar videos announcement that I've seen across all the different BI vendors, very similar concept.
Yeah,
AI is going to definitely play a big role in there. We're early because also the companies, I haven't seen any large companies successfully applied AI in BI in production yet. There's not a lot of real success stories out of there yet. So we're still exploring, I think, from a BI market perspective. Of course, at Cognos, we have a very clear vision. We're also doing a lot of work in this area. But I think BI market, it is the most interesting it's ever been. And I'm excited. I'm happy that I'm here at this time.
Yeah, I agree completely. Things have been very stale, and I think there's kind of a convergence of factors that you mentioned. The one is kind of I might use the word exhaustion with the over reliance on self-service, right? Like, it's important, right? But like all things in life, it's about balance. And a lot of companies have gotten themselves into a situation where they have too many BI tools, too many data sources, too many places to answer the same question. And
a million individual tables that all say revenue.
Right. And then like, which one is the right one?
Created for 40 different one-off reports. You know?
That is what it feels like. And then the advent of AI, like those two things happening at once, it really is an exciting like time to be in BI in a way that, 2 years ago, it just felt like I've heard people say we've reached the end of BI, like Tableau, Power BI, put a desktop tool and give it to a business analyst and let them run. And like, that's the end of BI. And I think we're learning pretty quickly that that's not the case here. A couple comments. Mike Norris, governance is on the rise yet again. Beware the era of selfish BI coming, Gen AI. It's very interesting to see how that's going to play out. We've got Greg Jungles mentioning the IBM Analytics Content Hub as an option to help solve all of your the fact that you've got too many BI tools. And then Jens, friend of the show, Jens, saying hello from Germany. So we really do have people from all over the world tuning in right now. So I know people who are watching are going to wonder. We've kind of talked a little bit about where the BI market in general is going. Now, obviously, there may be things you can't share publicly, but as far as the Cognos vision and roadmap is concerned, what can people expect coming in the next year or two?
Okay. So of course, AI is going to play a very key part of our strategy. There should be no BI tools in the market without having an AI part into it, right? But how do we integrate, leverage AI? That is the key question that you want to ask every BI vendor. One thing I do want to call out, and this is public forum, AI is not new to Cognos, and AI is definitely not new to IBM. Right. IBM spent significant amount of investment into AI research for many years. And Cognos had been infusing AI into the product since the beginning of 11.1 release, which was released 2018, 5 years ago. What we were talking about was Cognos is your AI co-pilot, help you to be smarter, faster, and see further. So AI co-pilot wasn't from Microsoft. Every time
Right.
I see that, I have my fist up. I was like, oh, why didn't we patent it? But it was from Cognos team. It's from this product management team and UX team. We came up with that. We took that to conferences. Back then, though, the timing maybe just we were a little bit too visionary or too early. A lot of customers were not sure how AI could help, right? A lot of people still aren't sure today. But back then, 5 years ago, when we talked about AI, you can use natural language to ask questions. You can get deeper insights more than what you can just read from a visualization. You can have the product can detect outliers and give you trend lines automatically, forecasting. We have all of that in the product for many years. So we've been talking about AI, but going forward, I do see AI has a lot more opportunities, not just content creation, which we already have. I see AI could do more with monitoring, automatically suggesting, analyzing, proactively pushing things. And I see AI can help to do automation as well. I've been thinking that BI should have a big part, like automation should have a big part of thing in BI too. So from the help of AI, that might be taking us a step closer. But in general, where is Cognos heading? I think we need to better define self-service. What does really self-service mean, right? If you think about self-service terms, it's do things yourself. Not everyone wants self-service. I actually talked to a lot of customers trying to tell them you can self-serve. They said, no, I want to be served. And I think we can do both. Like if you go to groceries, there's self-service lines and their cashiers. I think they're equally busy. If not, the cashier side is way busier. People want to be served sometimes. I still see a lot of that happening, right, in today's world. I think Cognos is positioned really well to serve people, like to allow you to create a highly customizable, curated content, and then that would be done by qualified, certified people who understands data, understand definitions of data, understand business, and create content that's certified to distribute. That is still something that Cognos is really good at. I don't see that use case going away. But it's for true self-service, right? It's not just business users creating dashboards anymore. I'd say I actually find creating dashboards are not that easy using many tools that I've tried. I don't know why it's called self-service. That does require you to have somewhat product and technical knowledge. It's kind of in-betweeners. I see a lot of products in the market, BI tools. They are kind of in between. We want to focus on providing true self-service for consumers, right? And AI will play a big part of this, enable consumers to really being able to discover insights, to perform a lot of key BI tasks in order to make BI decisions with the help of AI. So that's one big area. Another area that we are looking at and we are starting to invest very heavily is the ability for you to customize your BI solutions in a way that you can take your BI capabilities to other business applications and processes. BI should not be standalone. We all have so many products, so many different applications. Some are built specifically for specific industry and tasks, but no matter what, they could all have a reporting piece of it. They could all have visualization piece of it. Right? So we want to enable people to bring important Cognos capabilities into other applications. So APIs being more open, right? Creating some very good examples, solution showkits to help customers, help our partners, business partners, and build up a strong ecosystem. These are the areas that I really like to invest in.
Yeah, I think that's such a key insight too, and I see that really across the market is this the realization, maybe a little late to the game, that like a lot of people don't want to or shouldn't go into the BI tool to consume their BI assets, right? Like you should be able to move data to the places where people are actually making decisions. And that means having APIs and tooling available to help people with that kind of embedding story, right? So that's really exciting to hear. Couple things here. So of course, Robert Peter calling in from the Netherlands. I know you know a lot of these people. We both do, Rachel. It's good to see everyone here. It's really cool. We've got Lynn tuning in. I'll plug it again real briefly. Day-to-Day Texas, January 27th. We will be there. Many people will be there. Lynn is the organizer of Day-to-Day Texas. Use code SuperData Brothers to register and get a discount on your registration. It is my favorite data conference in the world. And so please.
And just to clarify, it is day-to-day. No, it's not day-to-day Texas. It's data day Texas.
Yes, just data day Texas.
Data day. I know with a Midwest accent, sometimes it can be difficult, but
that's right. So Mike Norris wants to know, how has the move to cloud progressed, and are clients going all in on cloud?
In general, I guess, I think that's what the question is, not just for IBM, our cloud hosted environment. In general, yes, customers are moving to cloud. We still see a lot of customers, like those kind of conversations are happening every day. Customers are moving their workload to cloud, their data to cloud. And it's not just, often we see it's not just one cloud provider. We have customers who needs to run their workload on all the cloud providers. So that's definitely happening. And from a Cognos, I think being open and our strategy is not focused on one cloud only. So today we have a managed cloud solution on IBM Cloud. We have a hosted solution where we manage your infrastructure as well as your software. You have dedicated environment. You can do customization. You can have scheduled updates. We also have a SaaS solution on IBM Cloud where if you're interested, take your credit cards out now. Go and for $10, for a fancy Starbucks coffee latte price, you can use Cognos dashboards and self-service capabilities for a whole month. So that's why I say Cognos is not just for enterprise, right? We have that solution as well. And go ahead, Ryan.
I was just going to say, I think, people who aren't familiar, even maybe some Cognos people aren't aware of how easy it is to get started with Cognos nowadays. The reputation of it's only for big companies, it's only for, you need to have a team to run it. It's not really true anymore. And a big part of that is cloud.
Yeah, I really liked that heartwarming story I read from Kaiming, and it was with the help of PM Square. Kaiming is a nonprofit organization, right? So budget there's constraint on that, and they're running their BI solution using our cloud environment, and so that's a good example. But and then we are working on a containerized solution as well, where you can bring Cognos to any cloud providers you want. We're not limiting to one. I know certain BI tools, if you are talking about cloud, it has to be Azure, or you're looking to cloud, it has to be AWS. We recognize the need of multi-cloud, and that's what we're providing.
Yeah, and that's thank you for the shout out on that Kaiming project. That was so I helped work on that project actually. For those of you who don't know, it's a Head Start in San Francisco that partnered with PM Square, which is Eric and I used to work at PM Square. It's a IBM Analytics partner, top consultancy in my opinion. If you're looking for Cognos help, and anyway, so I was actually at a conference. The Gartner conference last year, and I went to Rachel's presentation having no idea that in Rachel's presentation, she was going to be giving a case study of a project that I actually worked on. It was pretty cool. So thanks for the shout out there in Orlando. A couple questions. So we've got Gil joining us from Cape Town, South Africa. So we're trying to get representation on all the continents. I think we're just waiting on Australia and Antarctica. If anybody's tuning in from Antarctica, please
Yeah, please.
Please shout out now. So just looking through the questions here, and as you're watching this, as you can see, we are asking Rachel the questions. So if there's a feature you want to know something about, you have a question for Rachel. I have a few that I'll be saving for the end.
If you've been waiting to share a gripe for years, and this is your opportunity.
This is your chance, right? No, I think. Okay, so here we've got a question. Let's see. It's pretty straightforward. Will the standard catalog of visuals be extended? So I think, do we have plans to add any additional out-of-the-box visualizations?
If there is a need, so today we feel like we have a very good set of out-of-the-box visualizations already. And if there's one that we see a lot of customers want to use and it's missing, we will definitely add it. So far, we haven't gotten a lot of requests on new visualizations, especially since we allow customers to bring their own custom visualizations. So that goes, again, with my comment about in certain areas of the product for Cognos Analytics, the strategy is to make it more open, allowing you to bring whatever type of visual or objects that you need, and then work with the native Cognos features. So around building APIs, right? Those will help to enable that. And for visualizations, we definitely have the ability allowing you to bring custom visualizations, custom visuals in. That's been in the product for a few releases now.
Awesome. Here we've got a comment. I'm curious if you see this very often. Jens has a very interesting proposition, I think, which is to combine on-prem and cloud. And the way that you do it is, your enterprise reporting, you leave on the long-term support version of Cognos, but then you use a cloud version so that you always have the latest features for self-service purposes. Do you have many customers who are using this kind of hybrid deployment?
Not a lot of customers using this way, because how do you sync up the models that you built, right? That's going to share across multiple environment, being one on cloud, the other one is on-prem in different versions. It's a bit difficult to manage, I would say, but it's a good idea depending on maybe you have a corporate strategy that's more rely on reporting, that you have a team of people creating curated content to distribute to everyone. And then at a departmental level or a smaller teams level, they want to do more self-service. Well, not to say they can't use their on-prem, but if on-prem is a little bit slower to upgrade, they definitely could use our on-demand cloud version for self-service, because it does get updated to the latest version whenever we have a version going out. So that kind of combination makes sense to me, and it's not a bad idea.
Okay, so I think Rika would kill me if I didn't ask this question. When will we get a better crosstab in dashboard?
Yeah, every release we're working on providing a bit more improvements in different areas. So I think in 12.02, there will be some features going out to enhance crosstab in dashboard. And we do have more API work also planned and being worked on around dashboard, and that will allow you to further enhance crosstabs as well. So these are all the things that's in the works. And then going forward in the future, it's interesting that sometimes we think about this. How much are we investing in dashboard creation? How much do we invest in using AI to just get it right without you have to manually create that, right? That's the area that we're also exploring, is leveraging AI to help with some of these tasks.
Yeah, that's a very interesting point, and I'm curious. So is that one of the main use cases you envision in Cognos? Is like, AI will help create some of that stuff for people instead of having to build it yourself?
Yeah, so AI content creation is going to be available in all BI tools, I think. Just what level of content, what type of content it can create, and the quality of it. I think that's how we differentiate in that specific use case, in the content creation use case. I think quality is going to be key. And then past AI creation, how much we allow you to alter, modify based on the AI artifacts, that's another thing. But it is a very interesting area that we're studying, we're testing with currently. Of course, what we're doing differently, I want to call out, is it's going to be based on Watson X. We're not reaching out to GPT. We're not leveraging GPT. We're using Watson X. That's from IBM.
Yeah, and I think that's an important thing to note is what most BI. So you mentioned earlier, like every BI tool now has their sizzle reel of AI features, and they're all
OpenAI.
They're all
OpenAI API calls for the first.
Exactly.
Part.
There's 2 points I want to make. One is none of that stuff's in production.
Yeah.
And two is, or at least very little of it's in production. And two is they're all using OpenAI, like all of them, right? And IBM is one of the vendors that's in, I think, the lucky position to have this legacy of research and innovation in AI, and you have your own internal models and that sort of thing that have already been, IBM has already been deploying AI solutions at the enterprise scale for a long time. And what that means is that a lot of the problems that other BI tools, frankly, have no idea how they're going to solve when it comes to AI features, I think Cognos and IBM have a leg up on. And the biggest one is they're not just going to be bundling up your data and sending it to OpenAI, right? I think that's probably not what you want. I'm going to venture a guess as a
to train their model.
Yeah, exactly.
And they preserve your data for a minimum of 30 days. I don't know what's the latest, but that was something. Yeah.
Right. And none of that is going on if you choose to use Cognos, and so that's definitely an advantage that you guys have.
That's right. Yeah, and not only we're using organically IBM built foundation models, we also have direct access, right, to the research team to collaborate if there are things that we need that's not currently available or supported by foundation model. We could work with the team. Whereas if you're using a publicly available GPT API, there's not so much you can request.
No, there really isn't, and that's a huge advantage here. So we're getting a ton of questions. People want to know about their specific things. I'm going to share this. This is actually not a question, but I share this sentiment.
Yeah.
So Jupyter Notebooks was a great addition to Cognos Analytics. No question, just a comment. And I agree completely that it's actually one of the, I think I have been evangelizing the notebook to BI audience now for a while. And I do think there's starting to be some traction there, that it's not just for data scientists. There's a lot you can do as a BI person. Yes, you got to learn a little Python and maybe that's intimidating, but
well, you just have an LLM write the Python for you. So
that's right.
But next generation now out of school, they all learn Python or are at school, right?
Yeah, they do.
That's another thing I have been thinking about. I don't know how relevant it is to this topic, but I've been thinking about how the market is going to shift based on the generation coming into the market, coming into the workforce. We have served, I think the first generation of BI users they're into retirements now. Mm-hmm. Right. And then you've got people close to retirement, and the main force right now are the 30s and 40s, I think, and a lot of the 20s, some are coming in. And what kind of skills do they have? Are they equipped going into this market? And I feel like when we talk about developers, IT users, that's even changed, right? I call people with Python R skills, understand build models using DBTs, and they are technical users, but they're not your traditional IT workers anymore. Yeah. So we're looking at a BI solution, BI market. How would that transform the BI market? That's very interesting. I've been looking into too.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point. Is like if you're my age, you have to learn Python. If you're 25, you know Python.
You know Python, yeah.
Here's a question from Greg. So Greg says he was talking with a client, and the client mentioned that 12.0.2 has been released. Greg's unaware of that, and so what release are we on now, and when can we expect the next one?
Yeah, so no, 12.02 has not been released. It is targeted for this quarter for sure, likely very early December. So that is currently being worked on. The latest release in market is 12.01, 12.0.1, and that was released September 30th.
Gotcha. Okay. Here's a question from Anthony McGrath. So, Analysis Studio is gone? Question mark.
Yeah.
Can you confirm that you can use Report Studio on top of Transformer?
Yes.
And is Cognos Reporting the main studio going forward?
Well, so Analysis Studio, Query Studio, Workspace, and these are gone out of the product starting Cognos 12. We have been carrying them after the deprecation announcement, even for many years. We recommend customers to use either reporting component or dashboarding component. They all work on top of Transformer PowerPlay cubes. And if you do have PowerPlay licenses, you can use PowerPlay with Transformer cubes. That's the best marriage, let's say. And if not, you can use reporting or dashboarding.
Yeah, and let me say some things that Rachel probably can't, which is like, guys, team, Cognoids, we got to get off Analysis Studio and Query Studio, okay? Okay,
Yeah.
guys, can we please do that? I understand, those of you who are in consulting, or many of you may have large user communities using that stuff. If you can use Query Studio, there are things you can do to make the reporting interface even simpler than it is today, by taking away buttons for certain, user groups and that sort of thing, to make it as simple as possible. We have got to get off of these things. Okay. I'll jump down off my soapbox now. But this brings up another question, and this is a question from me. So my favorite BI tool of all time ever is PowerPlay. So can you give us some insight into, and maybe you don't know, but just the decision making, or why is it that PowerPlay, it's still supported, but it's no longer being enhanced, right? It's just being maintained. So why is that? What's the story there? Why did PowerPlay kind of reach the end of its enhancements?
Oh, Ryan, no comment on this. No, I'm just joking.
I plead the fifth.
PowerPlay, I know it was such a popular product, and I still remember, so being in Canada, we're all hockey fans, right? And in Ottawa, when you go to Ottawa Senators hockey game, when they're on PowerPlay and you see the Cognos PowerPlay all red all around the arena, it's a very powerful moment. I still remember that. Yes, PowerPlay is very popular. It's very good. However, so I wasn't involved in every step of decision making. This was before me, but I can rationalize it, because if you're looking at it, what does PowerPlay support as a data source?
PowerPlay Transformer cubes.
Okay, and where can you go with the Transformer cubes? It has 2 gigs limit. The technology was built many years ago. It was difficult to enhance it so that cube can hold a lot more data. 2 gigs or even 10 gigs is not much to today's world when you're talking about data volume. It just wasn't enough. It solves the specific use case really well if you're dealing with smaller amount of data, fast OLAP analysis. It's great, but it doesn't. It has a very low ceiling, I'd say. It doesn't have a lot of other room to grow. So cubes as the source for PowerPlay was the limitation, as well as the code-based technology that's used. It's a bit difficult for it to be enhanced to work with a lot of the more modern products or technologies. It's still supported. We have no plan to deprecate it. So if you use PowerPlay cubes, feel free to use PowerPlay with it.
And then I think the knock-on question, and we're getting lots of love for PowerPlay in the chat, which I love to see. I love PowerPlay, right? I just think that UI, nobody has kind of captured that the slice and, when you say slice and dice about a BI tool, like nothing has captured it like PowerPlay did. But there's another question in here, and I'm searching for it. So this is from LinkedIn user. I apologize. I'm on the fly. I can't tell who asked this question, but just dynamic cubes, right? Is there any plans for enhancements? Will they work on the cloud at any point, or what's the story?
Yeah, from Cornelius Goodwin.
Cornelius. Yes, okay, great. Yes, friend of the show.
Yeah. So I guess everyone loves cubes.
Yeah.
That's two questions in a row. Yeah, Dynamics cubes. It's another interesting story. It's it's developed by a lot of smart people. Shout out to Avery and Dave Cushion, super smart people with this technology. It works very well as a cubing technology, sitting on top of large amount of data. We continue to support it, to maintain it, but there's not a lot of use cases that we can see that we can leverage with dynamic cubes as the source. I'd say looking at today's market, there are so many newer technologies to support data transformation, right? Building or maintaining a complex, advanced cubing technology is very costly. So we don't really have plan to deprecate it, but then we also don't have plan to continue to further enhance it. It's a pretty mature product. It works well for specific use cases. Would it be available in the cloud? That depends. If there's demand and there is definitely a requirement, we could look at, we could talk about that.
Muted over here. And that's kind of an interesting, I don't know if you've noticed this, but the term OLAP went away for a long time.
Yeah.
And now suddenly I see, if you look at, these semantic layer vendors like AtScale or, Cube, or Apache Kylin, they all suddenly the term OLAP is people are using it again. And so this interest in cubes that we kind of see in the chat is both a reflection of Cognos's legacy, right? And I use that term in a positive way, right? Cognos has been such a huge and important, and is a huge and important tool in our industry. But there's also this renewed interest in the concept of OLAP that is kind of independent of the OLAP cube, but just there's lots of new ways to do it. That aren't just cube files sitting on a disk somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if have you heard people start using this term again? Because I hadn't heard it for 5 years, 6 years, and then suddenly I'm seeing it again.
Is that question to me?
Yeah, I'm just curious.
Yeah. Actually, what's funny is I think to me and to us, we talk about OLAP. I think before it was ROLAP, MOLAP. There's a lot of those terms, but OLAP is, it's a common term to us. But then there was another day I was doing a webinar and talking to customers. I think it was at a user group. I actually got questioned, what is OLAP? And it took me a few seconds to think, you're in BI field, you don't know OLAP. And then I realized, well, maybe it was, and I started thinking it did disappear for a long time. Nobody was talking about it anymore. People are saying dimensional it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious, actually, Ryan and Eric, what do you think why OLAP is back? What's the use cases it's trying to solve? Why do we need OLAP?
Yeah, I think I think that what happened was that if you think about kind of the big data era, which I think we can say the big data era is behind us. Not that we have even bigger data back then, but than we did back then. But the big data era, there was this idea that we didn't need to model data anymore because we could process these huge volumes of data in a way that we couldn't in the past. And like one of the reasons you would model data would be to reduce the number of joins and all that sort of stuff, right? So there was one element of a data model that was simplification for performance purposes. And that need, it was perceived that with the move to cloud and the ability and the separation of storage and compute, that we didn't need to do that anymore, right? There was a second reason you modeled data, and that was so that you had like a trusted place that was in business terminology that people could go to answer questions. And I think in the big data era, we kind of threw both of those things out. And it was just like, I've seen this at a lot of places where they have, a lot of places will have this paradigm where they have one table per dashboard. So like each dashboard has its own independent table. There is no data model. There is no attempt at, I wouldn't even call a single source of truth. There's no attempt at any source of truth. And I think that's one of the reasons it's come back, actually, is because now people are feeling the sting of, we have no data model, we have no dimensional information, and we have a data quality problem. And we also now have a self-service problem because we don't have these kind of business-friendly, high-performant places that end users can go to answer questions. That's my theory. And I know, Rachel, I was at the DBT conference 2 years ago. It was crazy. I was in this room and the presentation was called Back to the Future. And it was to introduce all these data engineers. They're all in their like late 20s, say, to who is Ralph Kimball? What is a dimensional model and why would you build one? And they had never heard this before. It was crazy. And it's no fault of their own. I don't blame them for not knowing this, right? It's our industry has like got away from these practices.
Yeah.
And so, to them, it's like this crazy new idea, like, oh, well, it is a dimensional model. And it was mind blowing to see. And in that context, they're using the term OLAP now, I think, to be like,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, life comes in circles. You start somewhere, you go so far away from it, and slowly pulls you back to where you started.
Yep. And I think we should all give a special commendation and shout out to Cognos Paul Mendelson, who has joined the chat. Welcome, Paul. He says the biggest use in his mind for OLAP is that it allows devs to elegantly model the data. So you can, easily compare things from any level against any other level. This is really why I think it's coming back, Rachel, is because like we got away from this. We didn't. Okay. The people on this call didn't. But the industry, certain segment of the industry got away from this idea of like, let's make it easy for users to combine different data elements and that sort of thing.
Yeah. And then one more from Paul. When you include custom measure rollups, the first and last values for the dimensions and some other dimensions, MDX becomes so much easier than SQL. And I totally agree. I love writing in MDX because once it takes like a year to understand it, but once you do, it's so powerful. But I don't. Are these like new OLAP like tools and technologies like DuckDB and stuff? Like I don't think do they even support MDX? I don't think
some of them do. At Scale does.
Some of them do. At-Scale does.
At Scale supports MDX. Yeah.
DuckDB is the one I've used of the new technology. I don't think it does.
That doesn't.
I think you're still just writing SQL.
It's just SQL and DuckDB. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping that MDX makes a roaring comeback since I know how to do it. So
I know. MDX is fun. Okay, so we are just about at time here. Last question for you, Rachel, and that is, we ask everybody this question, and that is just, what advice do you have for a young person, or maybe someone making a career transition into data today? If you're new to this, someone's new to this, what advice would you have for them?
So be prepared to preserve a lot of time to learn from all sources. This industry, I say, maybe I'll talk a bit more specifically about analytics and data and analytics field, has so many different pieces and nuances. Of course, you need to understand the history because we already learned history is coming back. But also there have been just so many new technologies. I feel like every night after Like, so I go to bed before I check my news before I go to bed, and it seems like every night I see something new I've never heard of before, and I don't recall it being like this. I'd say 15 years ago. So keep your eyes wide open and pay attention to all the different resources you have access to learn all the different technologies available to you. And this is a time of transition. Of course, I'm a product manager. I always say this, think strategically and think innovatively, right? If you are coming to this field, your biggest contribution to your company or a company that you're starting is to find that differentiator. Find something that's different than what's already out there. There are so many hundreds of companies are doing the same thing. I've looked at a lot of different companies of different sizes. I find a lot of commonalities and not many differences. And if you are new to this field and want to build your career in this field, you have to think a little bit outside of the box.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's great advice. Thank you, Rachel. So where can people find you?
LinkedIn, happy to connect on LinkedIn. You can send me a message, connect, and happy to chat about Cognos and BI, and especially if you have your credit card out and then purchase our.
Great.
Just joking.
Yeah, no, it was Rachel. Thank you so much for coming on the show. It was really great to have you here.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. Thanks for inviting me. This is really fun. I wish I do this every Thursday. Maybe I should start my own podcast, but then I have to compete against you. Maybe not.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
Bye. Have a good day.
All right. Thank you.
Man, I love her.
Yeah. No, that was a great show.
All right. So listen, folks, thank you for tuning in today. If you liked what you saw here, we do this every Thursday at 12 o'clock Eastern time.
Most Thursdays.
Most Thursdays. We will not be doing it next Thursday as it's Thanksgiving. But most Thursdays at 12 o'clock Eastern time. We cover the gamut of topics for BI. We do interviews with BI vendors. We present on our own topics. We give you best practices on how to have the best BI practice possible. So do tune in. If you're watching us on YouTube right now or on LinkedIn, give us a like and a thumbs up. And make sure to subscribe and hit the bell and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Ring that bell.
Got to ring it. All right. So Paul Mendelson says 5 lines in MDX, nightmare in SQL. That's true, Paul. But getting to the point where you understand those 5 lines in MDX is a struggle.
Yeah. It took me a year, and that was partially under your tutelage, Paul. So
yeah, I think we should have Paul on the show sometime.
Yeah.
Give us a thumbs up and a like if you'd like to see Cognos Paul on the Super Data Brothers show at some point. We'll try to make that happen. All right. So last bit of business, of course, we have to thank our sponsor. That's Digital Hive, the single access point to all your analytics. If you are in the situation, I know many of you are, where you've got a big, beautiful, and bold Cognos deployment, but you also have to support Power BI and Tableau and who knows what else. Digital Hive is there to help you do that by giving you a single place for your users to find analytics assets. That is what an analytics catalog does and what differentiates it from a data catalog, right? The analytics catalog is for your analytics content that exists in your BI tools. So check out Digital Hive, digitalhive.com. We love Digital Hive, longtime fans and partners of the show, and we're very proud to have them as a sponsor. Do reach out to them and tell them you heard about them from us. That helps us a lot. Thanks. All right. So any last words for the people before we let them go?
Man, the people are clamoring for Paul.
Paul. They want Cognos Paul on the show. Okay. Well, we will try to make that happen.
My kids will be clowning around in the background. That's okay.
That's perfect. We're that kind of show, Paul.
Yeah.
That's why we do it live and don't edit.
Yeah.
All right.
No, I think just last words. Like Ryan said, like, comment, subscribe. We cover Cognos content. We cover other BI content. Do interviews with CEOs of startups and other BI companies. Like I said in the intro to this show, we're the Super Data Brothers, but really we are BI focused. We are analytics focused. So if you're a Cognos person and you want to hear about Cognos, tune in. If you want to hear about other new tools, you might want to spread your horizons. tune into because we talk about all sorts of stuff on the show.
Yes, we do. All right. So I think that's it. Yeah, the people are clamoring for Paul.
The clamoring for Paul. We'll have to have Paul on.
All right. So, yeah, that's it. Until next time, folks, thanks for tuning in. What a great audience you were today. So many great questions.
Awesome show. Awesome turnout today.
Really enjoyed having you here. Until next time, I am Ryan.
I am Eric.
And we are the Super Data Brothers. Take care, everybody.
Goodbye.